the show
that inform, improve, and inspires racers everywhere.
The Northwest Race Report. The Northwest Race Report is brought to you by O'Hagan's Kart Supply, Lebanon, Oregon. You want to win? O'Hagan's wants to help. And by True Tech Automotive, Hazeldale, Washington. Get your car, truck, or tow rig repaired the right way, the True Tech way. And by Scott Seal Coat and Striping, Federal Way. For over 25 years, whether you're sealing or striping, you can count on Scott. And by Southern Oregon's karting headquarters, Speed City LLC, keeping racers on track with quality support and friendship. You're tuned in to the Northwest Race Report exclusively at terrybridges.com. And now back to your horsepower and performance hosts, Terry Bridges and Glenn Lippy Tower. Oh, what is going on, racers? I'm your horsepower and performance host, Terry Bridges. And it is another edition of the Northwest Race Report. I got two of the best in the business with me. I don't know how you could get any better. My main man, Glenn Lippy Tower. What's going on, Lip?
It's all good in the hood.
And we've got our Mr. Tired, who didn't cut his leg with a saw. The loader, Jeff Eden. What's going on, buddy?
Just tired.
Just tired.
It's been one of them days.
Well, it's not your back again or migraine or whatever, is it?
Nope. We just had a really, really busy day. I mean, I was at...
How many loads did you do today?
I don't know. I started loading at 5 o'clock this morning, and I quit at 3 o'clock this afternoon.
And you were loading the entire time?
Pretty much.
Wow. What if you have to go potty? What happens?
Yep.
You have to do like the racers do, pee in your suit?
No, not that bad.
Oh, okay.
I just open the door and jump out, and I don't care.
Wow. What if it's like number, like 2?
That adds binder.
Some character?
Yeah, that adds binder to the rock.
Binder, right. Well, where do you get your rock at? Because I'm not going to use that binder. Wow. So, Lippy, you had a saw incident.
I did.
We got a few minutes, so tell us a little bit. What happened now?
So I was building a fence for a lady that has some...
Oh, wait, time out. Who was P1 tonight? Because tonight we start round 1 of the Northwest Race Report Summer Chat Series.
We do.
And our official scoring is none other than Mr. Glenn Lippy Tower.
And I'm all over it. Mr. Joe Ransom pulls in number 1. Glad to see that. Brent Meyer coming in at P2. Ronnie Cox at P3. Daryl Kelso after that. Scott Keeney so far. So we're filled up to 5. We're going down to 10. So we'll see who else checks in later. We are a day early and a couple minutes early.
Well,
so,
I will say this. That third for the 9 is much better than the weekend.
Well, yeah, he's redeeming himself.
Yes, he is.
Sure. So,
that's cool. Well, I'm glad we could offer him a chance to redeem.
But it's still number 3.
Yeah, but you times that by 3, and what do you get?
9.
9. Yeah, it's a divisible of 3. Okay, so anyway, your saw. So you were at.
I was putting up a fence for a lady that got some vigorous dogs, having trouble keeping them in. So I was putting up a new fence for her, and the 2 4x4 posts. I have to cut them and then flip them over and then cut them again to the length that I wanted. And as I was doing that, my first cut, a piece of the 4x4 came loose that I didn't see, and it got jammed in my guard that usually slings back down and covers my blade after I'm finished with a cut. Well, it didn't do that. I had let off the trigger, but this blade was still spinning, and I rested the saw on my thigh while the blade was still spinning. So thankfully, I had on a set of Carhartts that day, and so it was very thick material, and it was enough to...
Did it tear the pants?
It left teeth marks in my pants.
But it didn't rip it to where it got to your skin.
It didn't get to my skin. It did not get to my skin, but it left 10 or so perfect holes in my pants where it wadded up into the blade. So
whoa.
Yeah, it was a scary situation, and
yeah, because is it your main jugular right?
Exactly.
Right there.
It was right underneath that. Right underneath
And what else? And it was close to your junk.
My junk, as I said
the
earlier.
The package, yes.
There was a lot of stuff in the way there.
You know, and those jewels that are in that treasure chest are priceless, I do believe.
I don't know. Mine aren't making anything, so I don't know how priceless they are. Somebody posted on my Facebook that would have been a free vasectomy, but
oh wow,
yeah, it was not a good situation.
No,
but that's part of being a handyman.
We'd be calling him half a man right now.
Yeah, right. Or a court low or something.
Yeah. Well, you know what they say. Racing, because all other sports only take one
something.
Yes, or other. Correct. Well, wow. Great. We got a pretty cool show for you tonight. This is our tribute to Ronnie Baker, who here a couple weeks ago had a stroke at PGP, and they had a memorial race for him this weekend. So I just thought I would kind of make this a tribute show to Ronnie Baker. Another memorial. I mean, it's cool that we have them, but it sucks that we have to, right?
Exactly.
Amen.
So, but the loader and I went up to PGP this weekend and had a great time. The people were just fantastic. The turnout was okay. The weather was, it was a perfect tribute day or a memorial day to have it at the track. Everybody was well behaved and, it was neat. I hadn't been there in several years, so it was cool to get back there. And I will say this, Jason Sucic, you need to come up to PGP and see how they get things done. And if you don't agree that their scoring system, I'm telling you, you have no idea how much grief that thing is causing you. If you saw this, you know what I'm saying, Jeff?
Oh, yeah. One person.
It's crazy.
One person. And she runs the whole thing.
And that thing didn't hiccup all day. She could even change. One of the guys had spun and was he wasn't in his transponder wasn't picking up. So she went in there, and I think it was while they were going.
Yeah, it was.
She actually went in there and moved him up where he needed to be.
Wow.
I'm telling you. There's everybody says, oh, it's spendy. But you know what? This thing did not hiccup. It did not glitch. It did not anything. It was dialed.
Is it the IAME or is it the same thing?
It's the AMB. It's the, it is spendy, but you can get, shear down. But I'm telling you, it's got to be worth it if you're a scorer. Those girls have no idea what they're working with. If they worked with this, they'd be like, I'm never coming back here.
Oh, no fooling.
Because she was up there and she wasn't even stressed. She was.
And she was basically in control of the race.
Here's how unstressful it was. She was doing that and working the scales. And she had to go downstairs, weigh, and come back up and bump.
And talking with us in the process.
Yeah. It was wicked. It's a cool system. But so Summer Chat Series, our current leader right now is Joe Ransom in P1. And it's going to go like this, guys. It's going to score. We're scoring the top 10 this year because it was such a success. So if you're 10th, you get 1 point. If you're first, you get 10 points. 10, 9, 8, 7. We're just going to go right down the line. It'll keep it close. So consistency will be rewarded to a point, but you're not going to have a shot if you finish 10th every week.
Nope, definitely not. And right now we filled up to 9 spots. So
wow, so we only got 9 live listeners. That's pretty sad. Well, it is Tuesday, nonetheless.
It is Tuesday.
We also got Ronnie Swyers going to be on the show tonight, and it's only because he is in Utah doing a coaching session there, and he couldn't get the recording for his driving tip of the week. So he's going to call in and give his driving tip of the week. But I put on there last night, if you had a question about driving and he picked it, if you posted it on the post, you got a free Product 41 hat. So the way I'm looking at it is either nobody cares that they get a free Product41.com hat, or I don't know. I just don't know how to get people to respond to the stuff. We try to give away free stuff for you guys, but so apparently I don't know, unless somebody's got a great question tonight on the show, then I guess I don't know what to do. Right? I don't. So nonetheless, we've also got our Blue Line Graphics in the seat guest is going to be Mr. Kevin Janders, who won the inaugural Ronnie Baker Memorial event in strong fashion. And he's got quite a resume. Can't wait to tell you what he's all about. Great kid, very promising talent. No doubt he's going to do some stuff. And, boy, we got some results from the big UAS race, which is great. It was live on Facebook Live, thanks to Sam Cervantes. That was pretty cool. It was just kind of cool. We got some results from Evergreen. We got some results from SEMA. We got some results from Tri-Cities. And
South Sound?
South Sound, yeah. You'll be getting that with the, I think with the load. Are you doing that, or are we going to take care of that in this one?
We'll take care of that in this one. And I'll bring the rest across.
Right. And then we got Lapping with Lippy. We got Tracking and Packing with the loader, talking some South Sound stuff, whatever. We got Kevin Janders coming up at 20 after 7, and then Ronnie Swyers at about the 7:30 hour. So it's action-packed, man. Another, action-packed.
Tuesday.
Yeah, Summer Chat Series season opener with Joe Ransom, P1. So, and everybody's good, right? We're all healthy and nobody's sick, or... Oh, I got to tell you, too, found a camera person, or I didn't, rather, but Garrett did. If you get a chance to go check it out, her name is Michelle Martin. She has Michelle D. Martin Photography. Dude, she is off the chain.
Nice.
I mean, her photos are so cool. She did some stuff. She's got some stuff she did down in Kern County, at the Speedway down there at the Winter Showdown. Mm-hmm. Oh, Jeff. Lippy, these cars are, not only are they gorgeous, but the shots are just incredible. She's got a couple where the car's on the racetrack. You see it in the middle of the corner. You see it's kind of banked, so you see the banking, and then the sun is coming through. It's hitting the car, putting a couple of those bright spots on. I mean, epic. And she doesn't work the video camera, but still she got the eye. That's the beauty of that thing. So, and she's checking in the show tonight. I don't know if she's here, but Michelle, if you're listening, so excited to be working with you. It's going to be awesome. We're going to knock this thing out of the park. I can't wait for you to meet the loader. He may be doing some events with me, so it's just going to be super cool working with you. So get those ideas and those eyes dialed in, because we can do some damage. I think so.
In a good way.
In a good way, for sure. Yeah. So let's. What do you say we do some Winter Circle Wednesday? Huh? Let's do it. If you're serious about racing, you're constantly looking for an edge. A tenth here, a pound there. It's a nonstop pursuit to find a quicker way around the racetrack. See High Performance believes to beat the racetrack, you must become the racetrack. And that is the thought process behind all of their innovative speed products. From their line of Superfly bodies and wings to the latest dual disc center vane Super Brake, it's all about finding a quicker way around the racetrack. With 45 years of innovation, See High Performance is dedicated to helping racers of all skill levels find an edge. Whether it's horsepower tuning, chassis dialing, or tire science, it's their commitment to innovation that sets them apart from the rest. Innovation is not what is, it's always been about what can be. So be all you can be with the integrity, innovation, and inspiration of C High Performance. Shop online 24/7 at chighperformance.com. Yes, indeed. The good folks at C High Performance bringing you this Winter Circle Wednesday tonight. Boy, we got some dandy results. You guys watched the Facebook post, I'm sure, from Cycleland, right? The UAS NorCal Unlimited All-Stars. We watched it on the way up to PGP. No, I wasn't. Well, I was kind of watching and driving, but not really.
Right.
Jeff was keeping me in check. He was watching for me, I think, anyway.
Somebody has to help you drive.
Is it really that bad?
You got your moments.
You're like a squirrel over there, and there's a squirrel over there.
God dang it!
Over there.
I hope my wife doesn't hear that, because that's just total confirmation. Jeez Louise!
I'll talk to her on the way out.
You hush. You're not doing anything. I'm not allowing you close. So anyway, at Cycleland, they had a pretty good turnout. 10 cars.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yes, good stuff. Ron Bowles was there. Stansberry was there. Kevin White picks up his new stuff from Tim Chase, that's, no excuses now that he's got the package. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And, so Diotti wins the first heat. It went Diotti, Cox, Bowles in the first heat. Second heat was Eric Stansberry, Kevin White, and Derek Wallace was running U.S. But he wasn't running an open. He didn't have a big open. I think he was just running.
KT is what it looked like.
Yeah. And he served. So in the main, it went Diotti, and he got up in the high groove, and it was good night. Once he got that thing rolling, man, it was fast. Ronnie got messed up on. He didn't even get a lap. I mean, it was they waved the green. They went into 1, came off a 2, into 3 and 4. He and Bowles got together somehow, and Ronnie was out. Bowles continued on. He finished down the lane, but still, I don't know what happened to Ronnie. I don't know what happened. Brad Berg struggled. What did he say? What happened? What came off the clutch? It welded itself onto to the crankshaft. So they worked all through the heat race and everything. Got it ready for the main event. He goes out, and the chain comes off.
Dope.
So it just, wasn't – he finished 8th, I think. So Derek Wallace qualified last, which is fair enough, right, with a KT. But he finishes a strong 5th. He comes up 5 spots. Went Diotti, Scott Smith, and Manisidera were the top 3. And then I think it was Bowles in 4th, and then Derek Wallace 5th. Stansberry had some problems, fell back. I don't know what happened. Couldn't really tell from the tape, but track looked good. It was glassy. You could see the bottom of the car in it. It was kind of real, it looked dry slick. But
3 and 4 looked a little bit wicked. I seen a few of the cars spun down in 3 and 4 to the point where they spun all the way around and then got right back out and kept going. The thing that I thought was so interesting was, you're right, Diotti went right to the high side, but he's the only one that took the groove.
Stansberry tried it later on.
But
it was too little, too late. Yeah, too little, too late. Then I mean, and that's where he ran last. I mean, he was a ship. Once you got it rolling up there,
exactly,
he would just come in and just breathe on the confirmation breathe, and he was boom. He was pedal down. So, congratulations to the hitman Ryan Diotti. That's a good way to start off the season, and then Evergreen, they had a practice night on what was it, Friday? I believe it was Friday night, and so then they had their opening night. The Hornets, Dawson Cox won that. Mike Jensen and Mike DeHar round out top 3. Andrew Shukar took the mini stock. Brad Thomas was second, and Nat Barber was third. Outlaw figure 8s was Chris Curtis, Seth Funden, who always is up front, and Zach Larson. Street stock went to Steve Woods, Roger Drake. He's a pretty good wheel, former mini stock guy. And Daryl Litovsky. He was third. Dario Reich, Dakota Wilkinson. Is that Hooter's daughter?
No.
And Gavin Ballou. I think that's part of the Haley Ballou, and they're some quarter midget folks. They were in the Youth Hornets, and I think the Youth Hornets are pretty young.
Well, yeah, I think so too.
Under 14 or something like that. And then the super lates, it went to Tyler Tanner. Dan Moore was second, and the preacher, Jeff Knight, is he has a church. He's a pastor. Yep, Pastor
Nice.
Jeff Knight. Andy Soul 4th, and Molly Helmuth finishes 5th.
Oh, good for her.
Self-made marketing outstanding job she does, and she gets some luck, and she finishes 5th, so good for her. Tri-Cities. They had their first round, Kid Kart. Oh, let me see. I'm going to give this to Jeff to see if he can. He complained about my writing, so look at that. Look at that.
Wow.
Go ahead.
No.
You got to do it, because I did that just strictly for you.
Man, if you could see this, it's unreal.
Isn't it nice?
Oh, my gosh. Kid Kart, Aiden Hansen. 2, second was Jocelyn Straight. 3 was Otto Scharf. Junior 1, 206. Troy Arneson. Second was Harrison Budzik, I guess.
Yep, that's correct.
3 was Tegan Fletcher.
Yeah.
Well, you're getting better.
I am getting better. You can't. You still having a hard time reading it, or is it that it's my writing sloppy, or you just can't read?
I can't read. I went to school at Sheridan.
That's
I'm
my.
just
That's my.
Junior
Sorry.
206, Elizabeth Hunter. Second was Troy Valadares.
Yes.
And 3 was Cody Nagel. 206 Masters. Went to Bryce Peterson. Lee McCarley was second. And Tyler Brown was third.
TB. That's good stuff there.
206 Senior. Kellen Dean, Justin Walsh, and Bryce Peterson. PRD? What's PRD?
That's like a what is it like? It's like a Perilla. It's like
it's
like an IAMI motor. It's a 2-cycle reed.
Yep.
So that's what Ricky Worley runs.
Yes.
And Chris Worley runs.
Yes.
And John McNeil runs.
Correct. They were all 3 at the BK and Midnight Motorsports. Good stuff. Hey, Chris Worley he's the one that bought kartcover.com. I just found that out. So I got a bunch of boxes for you, Chris Worley, so I'll bring them. Come and get them.
And then Rotex Senior, Adam Smalley, Joey McGuire,
Show me the money, Joey McGuire.
and Jerry Pitts.
Yep. Jammin' Jerry. He's a good
Jammin'
guy.
Jerry.
You met him at Salem. He came up that Sunday and talked to. It was after the. I think it was after the BK. Maybe you weren't there. It was when you were going to come down. So do I get? What's my grade?
B.
Acceptable.
B. How much
B.
neater do you need? Oh, he didn't pronounce it. Yeah, it was 206 Senior, Kellen Dean, Joseph Bryce Peter, and it's Tanner Korenkowitz, Craig Strait, and Justin Korenkowitz.
That's the reason you get a B.
Yep.
I can't pronounce them.
What was the one I had on Saturday? I got pretty good at it.
Oh,
Aljean Francois.
oh.
How's that? The first one. And he's a black guy.
No.
Swear to God.
Aljean
Francois.
He kept trying to get me to say it, and there was no way I was going to.
And now he's saying it like it's rolling off his tongue like he's a Frenchman, you know.
Is he French?
Parlez-vous français?
Parlez-vous français? Oui, oui, mon
Oui.
chéri.
Yeah, he said mon
that
chéri.
that we had P. Diddy.
Yeah. The guy's name was PDD. and he had, and the helmet was the kind that clicked up, the whole front of it did, and then you clicked it down. That's why he only put PDD. I think, I
Well,
don't know.
the thing of it was, he ended up with $50 on the draw.
Yeah, he did. I know.
Last place got him $50.
No kidding. So P Daddy was kicking it. SEMA shifter went to Remo Rashidi, Adam Isman, and Scott Hargrove. 3 of the best shifter drivers ever. Monroe Jordan was 5th. Day 2 they had, I think it was Remo, Monroe Jordan on Sunday. He was 2nd. And Andrew Bine 3rd. Junior 1 tag, Massimo Valiante. That's Michael's son. Kieran Hartley. And then on day 2, it was Hartley, Valiante, and Perina. Tag Masters went to Kurt Fisher, Neil Moreau, and Gary Rail. Gary Rail used to own Tag Masters. Not so much anymore. And I don't know if that's because everybody's caught up or what, but Gary Rail's a shoe. Junior 2, 206, it was Samuel Barrera Garcia.
Wow.
Yes. Massimo Parina was 2nd. Senior 206 went to Kevin Janders. That was on Saturday. Ken Porter and Jeff Janders was 3rd. Then, let's see, what do we got? Tag Junior went to Evan Arnold. Tag Senior went to Scott Hargrove. Remo Rashidi 2nd. Adam Isman 3rd. Good stuff. Brandon Cusack making a showing. He was 5th. Monroe Jordan 6th. Tag Junior 3. Samuel Barrera Garcia was your winner. Yes. That's for my buddy Ryan Fernandez. Mario Gill and Kyle Francis rounded out the top 3. Ellie Musgrave was 5th. So that was pretty cool. That was up at SEMA at the SEMA SEMA International Motorsports Academy. That's what they call their track. So pretty cool stuff there. And then this was the cool thing. On Sunday, we went up to PGP. You got to go, right? This place is epic. And I got to hustle because I got to get these ads in. But Kevin Janders, they were starting out in practice. They started out, 116s, 170, dropped it down to...
Well, the track was a little...
It was wet,
Yeah.
but it dropped. So it ended up minute 12, 2:59 is what. So this track is big. It's .850 is what they said.
14 turns.
Yep. 40. I checked it out last night. So at these times, it was 40, 45, 8, 45, 9 miles an hour average. But some good racing. Derek Wang took both heats. Looked like he was going to cruise on. However, Kevin Janders in the third heat, after having some problems, just smoked him. The guy that was impressive, Jeremy Bolstad, coming back from a layoff. He goes 6th, 4th, 2nd. He just got better he was 2nd, Derek Wang 3rd, Mason Buck 4th, and Craig Collins 5th. He had problems. Our own Billy Weber was in attendance, showing his versatility. He drove the second heat, broken throttle, and he's still running, 112?
Yeah.
He was flying, working the handle with one hand. Billy Weber, I got to say, love him or hate him, he can roll.
Oh, that was
He's
impressive.
Yeah, he is a racer.
Yes,
I
he
mean,
is.
he is very good. The other guy that stood out in my mind, he finishes back. Oh, AJ Fugit was there.
Really?
Rolling, dude, rolling.
I
I
like
love
that
AJ.
guy.
He's
I
a
like
great
that
guy. A guy named Jarrett Kanji. He's on an old, it was a Coyote. You know, I mean, it's American. Not even a tricked out new one, just an old Coyote. And he ran like a house fire. Didn't run so good in the main, kind of faded on, but and then Steve Siller, I got to give a shout out to him. Great guy. First race, he wasn't going to run. They talked him into it. And he said, boy, am I glad that I did. Right?
Nice.
It was so cool to see him.
because all he's been doing is practice.
Yeah, it was just crazy. And he owns Stimpy's Bar and Grill in Kent.
Oh,
Yeah, it's the best damn sports bar, period.
new place I got to go.
Yep, you got to check it out. And like I said, Jeremy Bolstad was great. AJ Fugit was awesome. And we'll be back right after this. The 3 most expensive things you'll do in your life are buy a house, educate your kids, and go racing. What you don't need is another expense. And that's why you take your car and tow rigs to TrueTech Automotive to ensure that they are maintained and repaired the right way with the right parts at the right price. And how's this for right? Extended to all racers is the In the Family 25% discount off of all preventative maintenance and repair labor. All you have to do is use the discount code NWRR to save. Now that's right. Get it done the right way, the TrueTech way. TrueTech Automotive, 6900 Northeast Highway 99, Hazeldale, Washington. 360-571-2302. Racing. It's preparation. It's focus. It's attention to detail. And when you try to take shortcuts, it shows. At Speed City, Southern Oregon's karting headquarters, distributor for Ultramax, Legend, QRC, Bell helmets, and K1 race gear, they don't roll like that. Speed City is committed to roll the way champions roll by keeping racers on track with knowledge, integrity, and performance. No shortcuts, no negativity, no other motives. You don't just have their word on it, you've got their name on it. So get back to having fun and get to calling Speed City. Speed City, LLC, keeping racers on track with quality service and friendship. 541-531-1222. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Hey, you know, I just wanted to say that, I don't know if you saw this, you'll appreciate this, but this is info, April 8th coming up, the Bull Ring in Columbus, Ohio. Is it Columbus Speedway? That's where the UAS Mississippi, so it must be Columbus, Mississippi. But Chizzy put this up, a note on a post. It says, info pertaining to the Bull Ring Columbus Speedway for the April 8th event. $60 trans, entry fee $60, $5 transfer, transponder fee. Primary UAS sponsor is Peyton Construction in Newman, Georgia. The guy put up $500 towards the payout, and it's going to go. So if we have a 10-cart minimum, the payout is $1,100. More than 10 carts, the payout goes deeper in the field. But the final payout will be configured after registration closes. He's encouraging no sponsor offers refused. but they've got, if you're a member of the UAS there, it's a Burris tire. It's a Burris win-win deal. So if you win on a full set of Burris tires, you win a full set of Burris tires, courtesy of Jerry Welch and Welch's Kart Shop. But this offer is only in effect for UAS members, so make sure that you are a member. And a couple other incentives to be a UAS member are going to be announced soon. So, and then he says, just know with assurance that the track conditions will be the best possible for smooth high-speed racing, and everything that is done or being done is for you, the racers, and the race fans. You know I only demand 3 things from each of you, which I accept as my payment. And those 3 things are be safe, go fast, and have fun. That's all I ask. Dave Chisholm.
Go Chisholm.
How cool is that? You know, love it. So it's time for Lappin' with Lippy.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Lappin' with Lippy, brought to you by Scott Seal Coat. For all your sealing and striping needs, get a hold of Scott Seal Coat. We can stripe it or seal it. Whatever your needs are, just give Scott Seal Coat a call and we'll make it happen. All right, everybody. Thanks for everybody that's checking in on the show. There's quite a few late entries. I see Daniel Watkins and Kevin Bridges, Lori Fuller, all checking in. We filled all 10 of our spots. Last one was Ronnie Swessinger.
Swyers.
Swyers. Still working on that.
That's all right. Yeah, he'll understand.
So listen, I want to first give everybody a bit of an update on Mr. Ed Flett, who is been my vice president for a couple years now. And he had a massive stroke a few months back. A few people heard about that. It's been on the internet. We talked about it briefly on the show. I finally got to talk to him just towards the end of last week. He is doing better, he says, but the left side of his body is still inoperable. Left leg, left arm is not working. He physically has to move it where he wants to move it. So,
dang it.
We are praying for him, and I'm asking you all to be praying for him as well. He's going to be released this Friday, gets to go home. His son is going to be coming over to start staying with him for at least a couple, 2 or 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks. We're not sure yet. He's going through physical therapy. Everything he can do basically to try and facilitate getting better. So, but at this point, when I talked to him last week, he still doesn't have any movement in his left side. So, speech is pretty. I can understand him pretty well, but there's still, even his speech is affected. So,
and that's a bummer because he just had cancer and he beat that, and went into remission, and now, it's like, man, give the poor guy a break.
Yeah, exactly. And bless him, he takes care of apartment complex. So he's the manager, gets them rented, cleans them out, all that kind of good stuff. He was outside pressure washing when it happened between 2 buildings and went down and actually spent 2 hours there on the ground before anybody even found him to get him even hauled to the hospital. So
wow.
Yeah, it was a pretty bad situation, but he's much better now. He's very coherent, very, very jovial, very happy, and
it's amazing,
yeah,
really.
Really.
After all he's been through, because I think didn't his wife left him after the cancer, and I mean, he's got every reason to be just throwing rocks at life, and
he's not at all. So good send prayers his way. He needs them. I'd also like to thank Kevin Bridges. He stepped up to be my interim vice president to fulfill the next year.
Oh God.
Well, Ed's out.
CPG Kevin. Oh, I mean PGB.
We really blindsided him. He didn't know what was going on. We voted him in when he raised his hand, and he really didn't know what it was for, but now he's signed up. So thank you, Kevin Bridges, for stepping up for the vice president. And
but that still means you have to race UAS.
He is working on it.
Yeah.
So So that's where we are as far as a club. I renewed my presidency, so I'm in for another 2 years, but I cannot do it again. So after this next 2 years stint, we have to have somebody step in because we are only allowed to do three sessions. And then you have to put somebody else, and then you can re-up again after that. But anyways, so all of our positions have been filled. That's great. Things are looking good for us as far as the club goes. So we're gearing up. We're getting ready to get after it. But that's what my whole segment is about today. Is we're gearing up. We're getting ready to go. Tracks are getting put together. Things are starting to happen. It's not just here. It's all over the country. So really, people, what I've noticed over the years of doing this whole deal is the first race of the year is total chaos. We've all been pent up all winter long. We're fortunate out here in the Northwest to have Salem, so we get to run through the winter, but a lot of places around the country don't get to do that. So when we finally do hit the track, we noticed it down in Cycle Land this weekend with the UAS race that was down there. Everybody is on edge. Everybody is on the edge of their seat. They're ready to get racing, and they're ready to get it done in the first turn. And I'm here to say, come on, guys, just dial it back a little bit. Just, think about what's going on. Think about what's happening. Try and hold stuff back for 1 or 2 laps till some of this chaos gets sorted out, and then start picking off your positions and making your moves and stuff like that. Don't try and get it all done in the first corner. It just makes all of us look bad. And, it's first race jitters. It's anxious and anxiety to get out there and get it done and make a good showing for your first race of the year. I understand all of that, but try and dial it back a little bit. Try and get a hold of yourself. Try and calm yourself down. Try and talk yourself through this stuff so that you're not out there not making it past the first lap, ending up in the infield because
looking like a buffoon.
Something bad happens, whether it's your fault or somebody else's fault. It doesn't matter. That's what I'm getting after, though. We just have to dial it back just a little bit. Take a second. Take a breath. I know a few people, Rusty included. He tells me that sometimes by the second lap he figures out that he hasn't breathed. It's that intense for everybody that does do this, does love it. It's in our blood. It's what we do. And we get wound up. We get on the edge, and we don't think about stuff like that. So, just when you're on the grid or you're making your 2-3 practice laps, just start talking to yourself, talking yourself down, thinking about it. Who's ahead of you? Who's behind you? Where you're going to make your move? That kind of stuff. Don't just plan it and go and bounce off of everybody that's there. That's not what's going to make you good and the rest of us look good. So, think about all that. And on the other token, on the other side of this deal, it is the first race out for everybody. It is a brand new season. So cut your promoters, cut your track people, cut your tracks some slack. It might not be the best track surface. It might not be the best race. You might not get the calls you wanted. It's the first for everybody. The scorers are getting back into things. The corner workers are getting back into things. The flaggers getting back into things. Everybody is getting back into it. So, cut everybody some slack. If you go out there and you have a bad situation and you decide to go to home and take it out on the internet and throw your local favorite track under the bus, it's not good for anybody. If anybody hasn't noticed, there's no new tracks coming online, and each time you diss or
bash or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it. The people that make all that happen and the people that do all that hard work, we just get less and less that we want to do that. So cut everybody some slack. Walk it off. Take a rest. Don't go and do that. If you want, go to the promoter and voice your disapproval or what you didn't like. Maybe it will change things, but don't go rushing home, get on the internet and throw the whole works under the bus, because you're just killing the numbers and letting people that maybe were going to travel 3 or 4 hours to get there for the first time go, why do I want to go there? This guy had a bad experience. So please, people, keep all this in mind and think about things before you get out there and before you get it done. It's the first race of the season. Heck, even my 5th race of the season last year, the track stunk bad. It stunk bad. I'm not going to even try and make it sound good. My track stunk that time, and it was our biggest race. It was the Betty weekend, but we did with it what we could. It was the best one I could do that day. And I thank everybody for not throwing me under the bus after that was all over with. I did the best I could, and everybody got to race on the same surface. So, just think about these things before you get back home, before you decide to throw whoever under the bus, whatever track, promoter, whatever it is. Just think about it and decide whether you want to keep doing this where you're doing it or not, or whether you want to travel even further, okay? Because it's not getting any easier. There isn't a lot of tracks out there, and there ain't any being built to take the place of the ones you're sending down the tubes. So just think about that before you all get out there and decide to either throw it into the corner and bounce off of everybody else, or rush home so you can throw everybody under the bus. So there you have it. That's what I got today, and I'm a minute early.
Well, that's awesome. Well, you're right though, and truthfully, if you're living and trying to be like you should be, that's in the past anyway. What good is it going to do to rehash something that happened? I mean, it doesn't do anything. Nobody's perfect. We all make mistakes, and they're going to happen. Even if your track was perfect, if you want to find something bad enough, and you look hard enough, you can find something, right? So, I don't know. I just say, be thankful that you were even out there trying to prep the track, because imagine what it would have been had you not been. Right?
Yep. Well, and that's all over the United States. It's not just here. It's everywhere. So
that's correct.
Keep that in mind, whether you're on a concrete surface with coke on it or whether you're out in the clay in somebody's backfield. Just be thankful that you were able to do it where you're doing it.
And the racetrack you may save may be your own.
Well, just remember, too, everybody's got to run on the same track.
Amen.
Correct.
Amen.
We're tracking and packing around the Northwest with the loader, Jeff Eden.
That's a cool intro.
I'd like to start out with something a little sad here. Renee posted this last week that we lost another flat track motorcycle rider, Jameson Minor, down in Florida, 20 years old.
Wow.
The flat track's been, I think, like this is the 3rd one. I don't know. I don't see Renee on here tonight, but I think it's the 3rd one this year so far.
Ronnie says, and be thankful it's round and made of dirt. Good enough.
Yeah.
So what you got, Loader?
Well, kind of been thinking about tech, and I sent off a deal to Mark Burkfield and asked him, how strict's the tech with the UAS and stuff. And what I got back was it was kind of cool, because I like this idea and I realized that the UAS is all about invention. The competitor putting his own deal on it and everything. And that was basically what he told me. He says, safety, we check the safety stuff. But the motor and stuff, as long as it's within that.
Well, because originally it was open stuff, so there really were no rules.
Yeah. So it kind of like the way he put it was, it's a lot of freedom to do what you want to do. But you also, I think probably the coolest part about that whole deal when I was reading their rules package was the personal thing. I thought to myself, this is so cool. Like you said,
We don't necessarily want the most. We want the best, right?
Or if you can't or won't drive like a professional, go get in another division. I like that. That's upfront, honest, dude.
Yeah.
Do it. So, and the respect of, have respect for the driver and the equipment, because you got a lot of money in them. I seen that at the BK. I just was flabbergasted at.
I mean, it's easy. What, Libby? Probably $10,000. I mean, these things aren't really carts. I mean, it's unfair to. They are, but to call them that is unfair.
No, they're missiles.
Yeah, they're race machines.
Yeah, they are a true racing.
They are.
So, that was kind of, I thought I would get more out of it with what he had to say, but in general, it comes down to the safety part of it. Be safe and be inventive. So that's kind of what. But
he had that email. I don't know if you read it, but he said, that everybody hasn't. He says everybody says it's good. I trust him. It's all good. But he said if everybody was truly happy with it, I wouldn't be hearing this grumbling and griping that I'm hearing. And so obviously there is an issue with the. I think the biggest part is that CC rule, right?
Yeah.
The born stroke deal.
But I do believe in one thing. It's just like everything else, though. If you don't put a top on it, it runs away.
You're right.
And it runs away very expensive, and all of a sudden then you got an NHRA where you got 5 teams that.
Right. Well, if it's in the rule book, they need to tech it because it's not something that you get to use whenever you see fit. If it's in the rule book, it should be teched. If it's not going to be done, then they should just eliminate it.
Well, like it says, generally speaking, if the rule is not specifically stated that it's not permitted, then it's permitted. Pretty plain and simple. But, and then in the process, Josh Culley kind of got me off to the side, and he said to tell everybody that there will be tech in Idaho.
Nice.
There will be a pre-race safety check. And one of the races, preferably one of the quarter point races, you will take your head off your motor.
Right. And I'm a little bit torn with the part where they said, well, we're going to pay the tech guy, X amount, and we got $100 here or whatever, and 25 will go to the tech guy, and the rest will go to the guy that, gets his motor tore down. Well, nowhere ever that I know of has anybody ever gotten money back when their motor got torn down. And I'm talking, at the Grand Nationals, they tear your stinking motor. You get your motor back in a box. It wasn't just the head. It was everything. And nobody got any money for that. So
were those tag motors? Or?
No, they were 100 cc. So the head came off, the barrel came off, the crank came off. I mean, it was just, they raped it. But that's what they did to tech it. So
it's different now, though. I mean, I'm not getting down on tech, and I'm not downplaying this at all. But back then, when it was 2 strokes and reed motors, if you grease the seals or the gaskets when you put them on, you could take it apart and put it back together with the same stuff. These 450s and stuff are not that way.
But all they're going to do is pull the head.
Well, still, but the cam's on top of the head, so you
got.
Well, I'm not.
I know. I'm just saying, bring some extra gaskets. They can't be that spendy, right? I mean, I don't think you need an engine builder to put your cylinder head back on, but maybe.
I think he's in the right direction, though. If he's going to give somebody, a little bit of cash so they can buy another $27 head gasket to put underneath it, then perfect. But that's been our problem as far as trying to tech that class. I've been working on when I was a Mercedes technician, we had some diesels that came out in 87 or 89. It was really easy for them to load up with fuel. They would hydraulic the rod, so your rod would no longer be straight. The beam on it would actually just bow in the middle, so your piston and your rod journal would pretty much be where they were supposed to, but the center of the rod would literally just bend. And the way I would do it is I would pull the injector out and I would send a rod down there, and I could turn the motor over and you could measure the rod's travel in its flow without having to pull the head off of it. I'm not saying that they can do that, but that's what I used to do because I knew you could tell when it was 40,000 shorter.
Did you talk to him about any of that, or
no? I didn't. This was kind of came by the last day, so I I haven't had a lot.
Well, good for Josh. I think that's a good idea.
Absolutely.
And like you said, Jeff, if you don't keep it, and that's why Roger originally did it, because he said if you don't put a little kibosh on stuff, it does. It just runs away with stuff. And I trust him. They say that. I think in his email, what did it say? It was just out of laziness. I trust him. Well, he says no. Not a lot of people do trust him, or I wouldn't be hearing all this grumbling.
Yeah, and that's, and that's another thing. I don't believe guys should be out grumbling around. If you got a problem, go to the face. I don't like this stuff going backwards. If you have a problem with it, go to the source. End of story.
Yeah, definitely. And as long as it's not a 2-day race and you tear them down after the end of the race weekend, they got all however long before their next race, whether it's a week or 3 weeks, to put it all back together. So.
Well, and then I'll tell you a little interesting thing. I was there at South Sound on Saturday night, and I was hanging out with Devin West and his dad Dan, and these Legends cars, they're all sealed motors and all this stuff, and I keep watching this guy. He's walking up and down through there. He's looking, and pretty soon he walks over and he puts a couple marks on the tire, and away he goes, and they go out for their heat race, and he comes back, and he's looking and looking. This is the tech guy. The whole time he keeps his eyes on these cars. You're required to pit within a certain area, and at the end of the main event, the second main, they ran 2 mains. Then the top 5 go over. There's 2 slots in the deal. You pull her in there. You can put your fan on your motor and start cooling it down, and then he decides what he's going to tear down tech. They'll take like this week was just he said I'm not feeling bad today. So all we're going to do is we're going to check and make sure the alternator's working. Your alternator wasn't working. You're DQ'd. Because that means it ain't pulling no amps. You got more horsepower. It's that simple.
Interesting.
He does not mess around. They take the front. Because those cars are identical. They got to have the same pieces. They're not like the dwarf cars where they're homemade. These things, you buy everything from the guy there, so you don't make none of your own stuff. You don't have none of the A-arms you make yourself. They're all bought. That's what it has to be, and it has to have the stamp on them. So they'll make them tear the whole front end off, basically off the car, take tires, wheels off. We're going to check and make sure you got stamps on everything. They do all of that. And that is what's kept that class, I think, in the...
It has. It's what kept the class there,
in
sure.
check.
Interesting.
Your favorite drivers and people of interest in the motorsports world. It's time for In the Seat, powered by Blue Line Graphics. Well, our Blue Line Graphics In the Seat guest, he is a very, very talented young man, and he is making a name for himself. Boy, welcome to the show, the winner of the inaugural Ronnie Baker Memorial on Sunday. His name is Kevin Janders. Welcome to the show, Kevin.
Hi, Terry. Thank you for having me.
Dude, thank you for being on. Let me quickly, guys, check this out. Okay, so here's a little resume for you. So 2012, he's the PGP Novice Rental Kart Champion. In 2013, he's the PGP Expert class. He finishes third in that championship series. In the Northwest Historics charity race, he was on Team Seattle. They won it. 2014, PGP.
I had great teammates for that race. So
absolutely,
that helped out as well.
PGB LO 206 Championship. He wins that in 2014. The charity race again. His team finishes first. 2015. He is second place in shifters in the Northwest Gold Cup Regional Traveling Series. 2016. In tag at the Can-Am Series, he wins that. The Northwest Gold Cup Regional Series, he wins shifter, the championship. Sumas, Motorsports Academy in shifters, he finishes second, and he's awarded Driver of the Year. And then so far in 2017, he qualified 5th out of 25 in North Carolina at the F-Series event in shifters. And he also ran tag for Fullest Motorsports, and he finished in the top 10 in both. Just won the inaugural Ronnie Baker Memorial on Sunday, and he won the Senior 206 on Saturday in Sumas. And That's not enough. He's going to New Jersey for the next F-Series race on April 20th. This guy is killing it.
You're making me sound too good, Terry.
Well, I mean, hey, I'm not making you sound good. I'm just reading your stats. I mean, that's the ink. That's the good stuff. Where'd you come from? Where did you come from?
Well, I've been racing almost my whole life. Actually, starting with Hot Wheels cars when I was 3 years old, 4 years old. I would, my friends and I, that's all we would do all day. And then we started playing video games. I think I was 8 when I got on the simulator, and my friend had a steering wheel set up. And so I've just always been racing, and I just, love it a lot. So I've been very, very lucky to have a supportive dad, Jeffrey Janders, who likes it a lot, and he actually used to drag race Corvettes. So it's sort of been, racing has been part of his life too. So
boy, the Loader's gonna love him. The Loader's a drag racing big time fan. So here's what I noticed. Here's what I really like about you is it's really nothing fancy. You let your talking do the work out on the racetrack, because if you didn't know you were there, you wouldn't know you were there. That's what I think that's one of the major things I love about how you operate is you go out there, you whoop up, you do what you got to do, and then you're back there and nobody even knows you're in attendance. And I just think that's something that has always been Matt Moniz. I don't know if you know who he is, but at one time he was arguably probably one of the best junior Rotax drivers in the country, and he was that way. You wouldn't even know he was there until he showed up on the grid, and then he put a whooping on you, and then he'd disappear, and you'd think he went home. And you're a lot like that, and I think that's just super cool.
Well, it takes a lot of practice. I'm almost in a go-kart every week, so definitely takes a lot of practice. And seat time is key, and I think it also helps going to races, for practice. So, 2 weeks prior to the Ronnie Baker Memorial race, Ched Paulus had us go to a LO206 race in Reading, and we went down there with Monroe Jordan, and he was a huge help working with in the 206. So that was great practice going to a race like that. And then the following weekend we went to the F-Series race in North Carolina, and that was a really fantastic race. And then, of course, we went to the Sumas race, and then the next weekend we went to the Roddy Memorial race. So
wow. In case you're wondering, races, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, man.
Oh yeah, so the traditional ways to practice are just to go out to the go-kart track when nobody's there and practice, but you really don't have anything to compare to. So a better way is to go out to races and use that as your practice. So that's sort of been Ched Paulus's
hallelujah
program, and
hallelujah, hallelujah. Somebody gets it right. There's nothing better than seat time. You just can't beat it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with going out and just turning some laps, but like you said, that's only going to get you so far. So how do you know how you stack up? You really don't. So that's cool stuff, man. And for those of you wondering what the F Series is, get this. It's the coolest name ever. Fast, Fun, and Furious. That's the name of the series. Pretty cool.
Yeah, totally.
Totally cool. And so, you're going back to New Jersey. That's the next stop there. You were in North Carolina. Now they're going to New Jersey. Where else do they run? Do they run anything out east, or is it all or out west, or is it all back east?
It's all back east. Yeah, and it's just a fantastic event. And yeah, the Valientes and and a Talcart. You know, they have good sponsorship for that race. So, yeah, they've been helping out as well. And yeah.
That's awesome, man. Well, you know, I made the comment yesterday. We chatted on the phone for a little bit, and I said, you know, I got to tell you, Kevin, I'm a huge Scott Hargrove fan, and immediately, just instantly says, "Yep, I put a dive bomb on him in shifter, and I drove by and I beat him." So he was like saying, "Yeah, well, you picked the wrong guy."
Yeah, it was from like a cart length back, you know, and the shifters with the brakes. I just dove on the inside and made it work.
Dude came from downtown to stuff it in there. Yeah, baby.
Yeah, the guys at SEMA, you know,
so did they
really good to race with, and Monroe Jordan actually just won the tag race.
He
on
did.
Sunday.
He did. I know he got second in shifter to Remo, which is pretty awesome.
And tag he beat Remo and Adam Isman. So
wow.
Yeah, so working with Monroe has been great as well.
It is. He's a natural, much like you. He's a very talented young man for sure.
When we get out on track together, we end up, you know, it's either we're helping each other out or we're getting in each other's way sometimes. But
well, you would never block for him, would you? Or would you?
No,
or would
no.
you? Or would you?
Oh,
come on, you would too, wouldn't you? Maybe.
Depends on how good the pay is.
Yeah.
For Monroe Jordan, yeah.
You might. Well, let me ask you. You know, everybody asks. You know, boy, you know, what's it like coming? Do you think running the 206 helps you in your shifter and tag stuff, or not?
Oh, definitely.
What?
I mean, it helps you, be really smooth, and you can turn so many laps. You can run that engine, all day long, nonstop,
Mm-hmm.
And it's so easy to use. So the LO206 program has been really beneficial for the sport, I think, and that definitely, and the cool thing about the class is you get people, you get like some really good competitors in that class who you wouldn't usually race with, like say someone who races, only races tag or something, and you would never really race with them. But when they hop in a 206, you get the opportunity to race with them. So that's a great thing about that class.
Yeah. Well, I got Ronnie Swyers calling. Hopefully he'll call back. But lastly, I want to say, so what do you think the secret is? If you were going to tell somebody, what's the secret to that 206 class? Is there one?
Well, I think it's it's really cool because it's a combination of it's like 50% driving and 50% chassis setup, right? And
Mm-hmm.
the motor is totally taken out of the equation because it's it's a 206 motor. So I guess in the last PGP race, I think we just had the go-kart was just dialed in, and through one of the corners, the final set of corners where you go flat out, usually I was actually able just to lift off the throttle a little bit, and when I was out in the lead, and I really wasn't having to push the cart that much, and it was just, the Ital cart was just handling amazing. It was just driving itself. So if you can dial in that chassis, you can be a mid-pack driver, and if you have a chassis that's dialed in, you can be up there. So,
Wow.
Yeah, definitely. We've been really trying to make the Ital cart work well with the 4-stroke, and we've been getting tips from Michael Valiente, and then just all the data we've been collecting from doing the race, like in Reading, and yeah.
That's awesome, man. Lastly, before I let you go here, because I got Ronnie Swyers calling, I'm going to ask you 4 or 4 quick questions, and and these are just quick ones. You can't really talk. I mean, you can't really think about it. You just got to say the first thing that comes to your mind, right?
All right, let's do it.
Okay, so Bridgestone or LeConte?
LeConte.
Burco clutch or Horseman clutch?
Horseman clutch.
Why do you say Horseman? Because you don't know what a Burco is?
Right.
Correct. That's your homework assignment. Find out what a Burco clutch is, okay?
All right.
Number 3, gas or methanol?
Gas.
PGP, coming to the flag, last lap, Kevin Janders versus Scooby-Doo. Who wins?
That's a tough one. Maybe we should have the listeners decide on that. They could.
Well, if you can get them to respond, you would be. Let's see. Did we get anyone? So he says maybe the listeners should respond to that. Do we have any?
Well,
no.
Watching you on Sunday there, I'm going to give you the edge.
I would have to say too. Yeah, it'd be because
if
Scooby be wanting a snack. Lori Fuller says Scooby Dooby Doo. What do you think of her now?
Uh-oh, Tizzy's.
Brent Meyer says Scooby. Brian Williamson says Kevin. Ronnie Swyers says Kevin. Brent Meyer says nothing personal. Well, Kevin.
I think we.
Go ahead.
I think that's the votes there. And Terry, I think this is an awesome show, and thanks for having me on. And
yeah, man, I appreciate it. We're going to be spending a lot of time together. And where do you live in Seattle? Do you live in Seattle?
Yeah.
Okay, we need to make a time where you actually come and sit in on the show with us. I think that'd be cool.
That would be awesome.
Yeah,
I hope it can resonate with some of the listeners. That just how passionate I am about racing. I'm sure a lot of the listeners are. So
they are. And
this is an awesome show.
Man, I appreciate that a lot. We do it for you guys for sure. But and I hate to rush. We're gonna do another show where we can just sit and BS for about an hour, and we'll get that going. Okay?
Yeah, I got to come in the office and have a seat. So
right on, man.
Sounds good, Terry.
Thank you, Kevin Janders, and congratulations on that win. It was impressive, and there's many more, I'm sure.
Thank you very much. Yep, the Ital car was amazing.
You got it, man. You stay in touch with me, okay?
Yeah, for
okay.
Sure.
Okay, buddy. Thanks for calling in.
All right.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thanks, Terry. Bye.
All right. Sorry, Ronnie Swyers. I thought you were listening, but he is relentless. Lippy says, I'm sending him a message. Gosh darn it. But, hey, we're ready for you now, so we're coming up next. We're having our driver's tip of the week. Let's see here. Maybe, are you saying I should call him? Okay, I will do that. Let's see. Let's do this. Ronnie Swyers. Let's see.
Is he driving the mystery machine?
No, he's getting a Scooby snack.
Your call has been forwarded.
Oh,
to
he's
an
paying
automatic
back.
Message system 503799.
Well, that's a touche. It goes right to voicemail. Oh, there we go. Your favorite drivers and people of interest in the motorsports world. It's time for In the Seat, powered by Blue Line Graphics. All right, our guest couldn't be with us. He's a relentless phone caller. I thought he'd be listening, but he is the owner of Product41.com. He's also a driving instructor. He's in Salt Lake City, and he said, well, you know what? I'm going to call in and give my tip, driving tip of the week. His name is Ronnie Swyers. Ronnie, what's up, man?
Hey guys, how you doing? Yes, I actually was listening, and I wasn't sure if you were on some sort of delay or something.
I wish I was. Will you help me get one of those?
No,
I'll
just hook you up.
All right. The Product41.com call-in line.
Yeah, no kidding.
So tonight, here he is with your Product 41 in the driver's seat driving tip of the week.
All right. Well, guys, I am down here in Salt Lake City. I'm working down at the Ford Performance Racing School where I spend 60, 70 days a year. And I was thinking about something we could talk about tonight. And I did an article for a magazine here a few years ago, and it talked about, and it's probably going to relate more to cars than carts, but I think it's a tool that can be used really in either. I use it in my shifter cart. It's just used a little bit differently, but that's, they asked me to write an article about steering with the throttle and what it means. And we think about, the old muscle car days where we just step on the pedal and we slide the back into the car around and steering with the throttle. But in performance driving and racing, the throttle pedal is not only just used for acceleration, but as a weight management tool or a weight transfer tool. We all know when you step on the gas pedal, the weight goes to the back of the car or the back of the go-kart, period. But as we come off that throttle pedal, very smoothly or very quickly, we can transfer a lot of weight to the front of the car or the cart. And we can use that to our benefit to help basically turn an ill-handling car. If you have a car that understeers very heavily.
What is understeer for those that might not know?
Well, it's very simple. There's two ways to put it. The funny way, understeer is when the front of the car hits the wall, and oversteer is when the back of the car hits the wall. or understeer is when you watch the crash happen. Oversteer is when you're listening for the crash to happen. Basically, understeer when you turn the car and the car just doesn't want to turn. NASCAR terms, the car's pushing. Oversteer is when the back of the car or car's stepping out all the time. And it can be done under braking or acceleration. So those are two other topics we could really talk about. But it all really deals with the three tools we have as a driver, which is the gas, brake, and the steering wheel. And all three of those tools are used as weight management tools and directional tools of how we control the car. So back to the steering with the throttle, especially in lower horsepower cars, but we find it here in our Mustangs quite a bit too, in street type cars, where a car that just wants to understeer, we can accelerate, maybe over accelerate, and how fast or how quickly we release that throttle pedal will throw the weight forward on the car, which upweights the back end and causes the back end to rotate. If we have steering wheel angle in the car, now going straight, that's not going to happen. But if we have some steering wheel angle in the car, that throttle pedal, just by releasing it and how fast we release it, can really help the car rotate. Because once the car is rotated, it kind of goes back to the tip we talked about last week about unwinding and straightening out the steering wheel for acceleration. Once the car is rotated and pointed in the right direction, I don't care who you are, we're all become drag racers. We push the gas to the floor. Steering wheel straight, we're on the gas. Agree, Terry? Right?
Agree.
Yeah. So that throttle pedal, and it just really becomes a weight management tool on corner entry, mid corner, and on corner exit. Just as another term that people use, and it's probably extremely prevalent in short track racing, is trail braking, heavy trail braking.
And that's where you're on the gas and the brake at the same time, correct?
Well, typically you're going to accelerate, because typically what we say is we want to get 90 to 95% of our speed reduced while the vehicle is going straight. And the last 5 to 10% as we're turning into the corner. So we can, as we get creative with the brake pedal, we may do 80% of our speed in a straight line and 20% as we're turning. So we trail the brake in, especially in a car that's understeering. The front end just doesn't have any bite, because weight is grip.
Mm-hmm.
The more weight we can put on a tire, the more grip it's going to have. But then you can exceed, then the tires heat up and they lose grip and it just gets, worse and worse. But for the most part, weight is grip. So whatever end of the car needs grip, we need to add weight. So on corner entry, we may trail the brake in and keep a lot of weight on the nose of the car to help it turn. And as we accelerate out of the corner, we take steering wheel angle out. Obviously, by going to the throttle, it adds weight to the back of the car, which adds grip. It helps us accelerate. Make sense?
Yes, I guess my question there would be, how do you know that the that the front end isn't overweighted already, and that's what's causing your right? So to add more is only going to make it, seems to me like it's going to make it worse, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, because you can certainly, again, weight is grip, but as soon as you develop a lot of heat, and heat will typically then you just start losing grip. So it's just another technique. There may become a time where you say, you know what, trail braking heavily or throwing a bunch of weight in the nose of the car is just not working anymore, and you need to come up with alternative measures.
Got it.
And that might be maybe a slight aggression of the steering wheel to kind of flick the car to the corner to help the back end maneuver. So you take the pressure off the front tires and throw it to the back of the car to help rotate it, because all we're trying to do is point the car where we want to go and get on the gas, period.
Mm-hmm.
All we're trying to do.
Right.
Definitely.
In any form of racing, we want to get around the corner, get the straightaway, and maximize our speed and top speed. It comes down to feet per second. The faster we're going, the more feet per second we're covering, typically leads to lower lap times. So,
well, Ronnie, I got to say really quick before you continue on is those out in the audience, if you've got a question for Ronnie Swyers, driving coach, we got a product41.com hat waiting for you. You guys were supposed to already have that, but we'll still allow it. Whoever pops up with a question that they have on driving or technique or whatever, Ronnie Swyers is going to give you a product41.com killer hat.
Swag.
For free.
Yeah.
Free swag. So
I'll even ship it. Heck yeah.
And he'll
Well,
even
I love
ship
answering-
it. So come on, guys.
I love answering the questions, and if it's something that I'm really unfamiliar with, I'm not one of these guys that's going to try and make it up. I'll say, you know what? Say somebody calls me and says, "Hey, I got a question on shocks and springs." I'll say,
"Well, let me ask you quickly.
What are those?"
Let me ask you quickly. So sometimes you said you want 90-95% while it's going straight, right? And
Yes.
like say on an oval, you're getting into turn one. I think there's a chance that you can, by the way you drive the line, say you come off of 4 and you're up by the wall, and then you kind of, once you get past start finish, you kind of like you're diming it, and so you're actually entering turn 1. And the attitude of the kart is at an angle, but the wheels are still straight because you've already kind of turned it once you pass start finish, and you've got the angle of attack as heading into the bottom of the corner, but the wheels are still straight. There's no steering angle in there.
Well, again, it changes. The 90 to 95%, I should clarify, really comes down to more road course stuff. Oval racing, then that is going to change and come down to more that. I would honestly say in an oval type situation, you're probably going to be 50-50 because you're lifting while the car is still going straight, but then you're doing the heavy trail braking all the way down to the center point of the apex of the corner. But the bottom line is the more steering wheel angle we have in the car, the lower the speed has to be. Another easy way to explain it, and we've explained it this way a lot, I try to pick very elementary ways to explain it so people can understand. And one of the ways we've done it is envision a string being connected to the steering wheel and the brake pedal. As you push on the brake pedal, that string's connected. You try to turn the steering wheel, and as you turn the steering wheel, it lifts the brake pedal. So steering wheel straight, brake on. Steering wheel turn, brake off. Same thing on the throttle pedal. Same string theory. Gas on, steering wheel straight, steering wheel turn, gas off. So as you increase steering wheel angle, you need to be lifting off one of those two pedals. Mm-hmm. And another way that I've explained it before is a tire can do 100% of something. Typically, in a brake zone, a straight line brake zone, we're going to ask those tires to do 100% of braking. As we release that brake pedal and we start asking the tire to go from 100% to 90 to 80 to 70, we can start increasing steering wheel angle and asking the tire to hold us in the corner. So we increase steering wheel angle 10, 30, 40, 60, 100% of cornering, the tire is now doing 100% of holding us in the corner. As soon as we try to go back to throttle, if we're still asking that tire to hold us in the corner at 100%, we exceed the 100% because now we're asking the tire to accelerate, and we start to oversteer or slide. That's why we say, like we talked about last week, as we come out of the corner, as we take out steering wheel angle, we can then apply power. So as we take out steering wheel angle and ask the tire to not hold us in the corner to 100%, we're taking steering wheel angle out 90, 80, 70, 60. Then we start applying power and asking the tire to accelerate 10, 30, 60, 80, 100%.
Wow.
So as you take away from one, you're adding another. And as a driver, we're trying to constantly maximize that tire and the grip we have at 100%. And it doesn't matter if it's dirt, pavement, snow, ice, gravel, doesn't matter.
Okay, I got a question.
We're trying to
for you.
drive to the limit of the tire all the time.
I got a question for you on that.
Sure.
Ronnie, how much does, like, say you watch the 24 Hours of Daytona, how much does these exotic body works, I mean, realize it's still going to be the same theory, but can you drive it in farther with the downforce with the body work and not have to worry about all the braking?
Typically in a car that has a lot of downforce, the downforce is with today's technologies, it's low drag but high downforce. It's like, well, how do you achieve both? Well, Formula One has gotten really creative with that, but high downforce cars, typically what you do, your initial brake pressure will be as hard and fast as you possibly can, because you have a ton of weight pushing down on those tires from the downforce. Mm-hmm. As the speed is reduced, you have to start modulating your brake pedal to less brake pressure because you don't have enough downforce that you did at, say, 160 as you would at 100 miles an hour.
Oh.
So like when they're coming on when they're on the oval and they dive off into the infield there and they start through that set of S's, mm-hmm. Basically the car's nothing but upset right through those.
Yeah, they're dancing that car. I mean, Daytona is an interesting track, but yes, exactly. They're trying to maximize entry speed, heavy on the brakes, relying on downforce. But as that downforce goes away, the aero downforce goes away because the speed is coming down and having to modulate off the brake. So it's a real balancing act mm-hmm. with those cars with the high downforce. And engineers, those teams have aerodynamic engineers working with pitot tubes and pressure differentials between upper wing and lower wing and all types of stuff. I mean, it's that gets into the area where I say, you know what? Yeah, it starts getting out of my realm of experience because it's a whole nother world when you get into aerodynamic type stuff.
Well, too. I mean, you got so many different varieties of cars running at that track when you got the Porsches and the Corvettes, and then you got those whatever the heck you want to call them anymore that's all exotic
prototype lights.
Yeah, you got such a variety of cars running through there, and that's the reason I kind of enjoy watching that race, because you can watch the difference in them, especially when they come bailing off the high bank, come down, and the Porsche is just, it's all they can do to keep it under control right there.
Right, and that's what they're doing. It's a constant balancing act of that 100%. I call it the 100% rule. That tire can do 100% of something. So they're trying to balance and keep it at that 100% all the time. Well, maximizing the braking force and the cornering force. And so it's a very loose car all the time. And many of the people listening have experienced that. You can experience that on dirt or anything where you're just right on that edge all the time, because on the edge with a little bit of slip angle is extremely fast.
Well, I think Brent Meyer is going to get your hat, because Brent's from Kaiser, Oregon. He races in the 206 class.
Yeah, I know Brent.
Do you?
Absolutely.
He says, how do you know if you don't have too much caster or camber in it, causing some of that?
Causing some of what?
Yeah. Brent,
elaborate on that.
Can you a little bit, Brent? It says, how do you know? Well, I guess that's still a great question. How would you know if you have too much caster or too much camber in the car? Or how would you know if you need more, I guess?
Well, camber, I'm going to say, that the alignment type things in various cars and everything is not an area of my expertise, but I do know a lot about the radial tire. I've worked with BF Goodrich extensively for years. They were one of my primary sponsors when I got started. And when we go to set up a car, we will typically on a flat pad, so you've got a nice consistent surface. It really comes down to tire temps. Tire engineers will say, well, we want a consistent tire temp across the face of the tire. So if you have a very cold outside tire of the tire and a very warm inside of the tire, which is pretty common knowledge in racing, then obviously you've got too much negative camber. You need to stand the tire up so you can utilize more of the contact patch on the road.
Right.
So, and certain types of cars like a little bit of toe out because it's going to help the car turn better. The initial turn in with toe out is going to help the initial bite on entry. You get into the kart stuff and caster and stuff, it's all about jacking the inside tire up to help the kart turn.
Right. But his question, he said it pertaining to oversteer. How do you know that too much caster or too much camber isn't causing some of that?
I don't know that camber is going to cause front end camber because mostly, there's not really
any cambered rear end, right? Yeah,
cambered rear end type stuff and anything until you get into some elaborate stuff. But I don't know that camber's really ever caused in the car side of things really into oversteer. And caster probably can because even in cars, it's a weight jacking tool. As soon as you add some steering, the caster is going to affect it. But that's not an area of my expertise on suspension setup and camber and caster stuff. Back in the day when I was really heavily involved in sports car racing and things, I would just tell the engineer, well, the car's doing this, and they did some things, and I would go out and it was better.
Right.
So I didn't have to worry too much about that. It's a great question, and I wish I had more expertise in those areas of camber and caster, but
the answer to your question, Brent, is hire an engineer. That's how you know.
The answer to your question, Brent, is I don't know, but I'm still going to give you the hat because I like questions that I don't know because it leads me to go do some more research. Basic camber stuff, I'm pretty okay with camber, but when it gets into caster and especially in the karting side, which Brent runs the 206 stuff, the caster and karting, it's been a few years since I've really dealt with that, and I'm just not the best guy to answer those questions. I wish I was.
Fair enough.
I think you did hit it though. I mean, if you come in and you temp your tire as soon as you come off the track, and the inside's a lot hotter than the outside, then obviously you need to stand it up more so you can distribute that weight further across the tire, which is going to make more of it work. So I think you did answer the question, and it's up to us to decipher it. So you were right in there, I believe.
Well, Ronnie, and I'll say to this tire temp thing, I know when I was doing it, I remember reading somewhere that because when we first were doing it, we were trying to get the tire even across the face of it, right? We were trying to get it as close, the outside as close as we could to the inside. But when I read, they say, that's where people get confused because at least in roundy round stuff, they said that don't shoot for that perfect even across the thing. It's the rule of thumb is a 5 to 7 degree difference between the inside and the outside, and that you really want to average your tire temps versus just using a one time deal. Is there any truth to that?
Yeah. Now, if people say, well, my tire temperatures are 150 on the inside and 154 on the middle and 156 on the outside, I'm like, that's good. That's fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's going to be some degrees of variance to this, especially because it takes a period of time. Typically, when we take tire tests, we want off the track immediately poke the tires. And if you can only poke one tire at a time, the other tire is not going to get poked for, maybe 20 seconds. So, as long as they're within 4, 5, 10 degrees, I've never had anybody say, well, that's too much.
Right.
When you start seeing, say for instance, a 160 on the inside and a 120 on the outside, it's like, yeah, there's a
Something wrong there.
spread or something.
Yeah.
We need to make some changes. But the 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 type stuff, I've never had anybody or had any engineers that say that's not acceptable.
Right. Well, let me ask you lastly, too. Somebody told me that, hey, well, the tires don't get hot enough here to even worry about tire temps. And my thought to that was, if they get any kind of warmth to them that they're measurable, you should still be able to decipher. I mean, I'm guessing, right? I mean, just because they're not up to like specified temp, like we used to have to run slicks on dirt. Well, obviously
Right.
they're not going to be there, but if it's measurable at all, where you can get a difference, you'll have an idea of maybe where you're at. Whether it's 80 degrees or 100, instead of the 240 or whatever they want, whatever. But
Right.
I don't know. Is that?
I don't know the answer to that question, but knowing tire construction and a lot of work I've done in the last few years with some of the new tires that, and I'm just going to use BF Goodrich tires as an example. We talked about a summer only tire, high performance summer only tire, and then the new Comp 2 all season tire that works down to roughly 40 degrees. And people will say, well, why do I need a snow tire? It's not snowing here. Well, the compound of the tire on a summer only tire is not designed to work below about 42 degrees. The compound doesn't really hold the road well. So you don't need a snow tire just because it's snowing. You need a snow tire if you're going to be in conditions where temperatures are very cold. With that being said, Salem, how many days this year do we have that we never saw above 28 degrees?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So those tires they're using, I would have to assume, are not designed to work really well in 28 degree temperature. So if we get any temperature in those tires, it's going to benefit it, period. Whether it's 60 degree or 50 or 80. Anything measurable, Terry, just like you said, I would have to assume you're going to see a benefit.
Yeah, that was.
You and I had a conversation here, I don't know, a month or so ago about some, doing some infrared tire temp stuff. I'm really interested to start working on that with some new stuff that AIM's got coming out, and seeing how that, just for the knowledge of it, whether I'm going to be able to extract anything useful out of it, I don't know, but I want to try it and see.
Well, you need to come out with a way to beat tire prep without tire prep. That's what you need. You need to come up with that deal. Boy, you do that, and good night, Irene.
Yeah, and that again, as many people know, the dirt is certainly a very new arena for me, but I'm curious about it. I'm interested in it, and I'm really interested to try and find a way that advantages can be gained from knowledge, not just going out and saying, well, we've always done it this way. It's like, well, why? Well, because we've always done it that way. Okay, well, what if I can give you some other information that would help you gain knowledge that you didn't have that may make you faster or better?
No, because we've never done it like that.
Because you've never done it like that, right? So those are the things that intrigue me. It's like, okay, well, let's see if we can figure out a different way that might be better, that may save people time and money. Heck, I see these guys in the tire prep. I'm like, wow, that's a lot of work.
And it is.
On the cars, we check the tire pressure on club racing, track day stuff. We check the tire pressure and torque the wheels, and away we go.
Boy,
tire prep.
Wouldn't that be nice?
So, right. So, but no, I always like learning and seeing if there's something I can learn and share it with somebody that they may find it useful in the routine or the preparation or something that will help them become a better driver. That's the stuff that intrigues me. So
right on. Well, man, we're a little over, but appreciate Brent Meyer. You need to contact Ronnie Swyers. He's going to hook you up with that product41.com hat. Are you going to participate in our summer chat series, Ronnie? Yeah, because I didn't see you in the top 10. So
he is.
Oh, he is. What did he finish tonight?
Finished number 10.
Oh, you got 1 point. So you're hanging.
I did.
You got 1 point.
I did.
Yes,
Summer
you did.
Chat series.
Yep.
No, I have been back and forth between my hotel room and eating dinner downstairs. So anything you guys talked about, I am oblivious to at the moment. So Summer Chat series, yeah, I'd love to be in there. I'm trying to figure out how Susich the last few weeks was P1, and I know Brett Meyer was P1 here like 3-4 weeks ago, and I'm still struggling to try and find out how they do that so fast.
Well, I'm going to tell you, it's a lot like tire prep. Everybody's got their secret.
Yeah, nobody's going to tell us.
That's right. You're going to have to figure it out on your own. But
if there's something going on this summer, and I'll be traveling a lot as I always do during the summer, but my evenings are usually available, and I'd love to be involved still, for sure.
Right on. Well, we'll look forward to your tip next week, too. So, Ronnie, thank you so much for being on. Thanks for taking the time, because I know you're busy down there. But we'll be definitely looking forward to seeing you back next week and hearing your driving tip, man.
Absolutely.
You're the man.
Guys.
You're the man, dude. Product 41.
Thanks,
thank you, buddy.
See you later.
See you, bud. Product41.com. Brent Meyer gets the hat. Congratulations, Brent. Not only did you get P1 or P2 tonight, you got P2. You get a free Product41.com hat. Quickly, Jeff's going to have our closing big famous crazy wild and
no, we're at marketing at full speed. Think about it. Step away from fear. Take the unknown chance to make your next step.
One more time.
Step away from fear. Take the unknown chance to make your next step.
Wow.
Marketing at full speed.
Anna Marie. Go there, guys. You can learn a lot. There's a lot of free material there.
And someday, Chizzy, I got to meet you.
Me too. I haven't met him yet either. He's an awesome guy. We're off tomorrow. We'll be back. I'll be back on Tuesday, so we'll be back same Northwest Race Report time, same Northwest Race Report channel. Big shout out to our guest, Ronnie Swyers from Product41.com. Kevin Janders. Seems like a nice kid. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Definitely.
And
I talked to him a little bit there.
Yeah.
On Sunday.
He's a good kid.
And
so appreciate those two guys. But most of all, we appreciate all of you out there, our listeners. You are why we do it. So congratulations to Joe Ransom taking the win today, P1. And until next week, this is going to be good, don't you think? I love the start of the season and right at the end, just to see.
Lipstick on a pig? What's that all about, McDowell?
Oh, owie. He's going there. Well, this is a family show. But, hey, hit us up on Facebook. Check out the website. We're going to be getting more stuff up there as we go along. TerryBridgesRacing.com. Check it out. Let us know what you think. Big shout out. Thank you, True Tech Automotive, Speed City, Sea High Performance, and, of course, couldn't do it without my main man, Joe Ransom, and Brian Esquini at BLG, Blue Line Graphics, best in the business. We love you. I'll be in Sun River. Look for picks.
There it is. Take the high side.
Yep, take the high side if somebody's on the bottom. Or, Jeff, one more time.
Oh, I got it already put away.
Oh, take the chance.
Step away from fear and take the unknown chance for your next step.
Do it.
There it is.
We love you. Thanks, guys. So long.
Back on Wednesdays. Hey racers, Glenn Tower here from the Northwest Race Report. You know, with the invention of the internet, our local go-kart shops have really taken a huge blow. One of the great go-kart shops out there is O'Hagan's Carts and Supplies. They offer a great selection of carts, parts, and service. We all want to win, and O'Hagan's wants to help. O'Hagan's Carts and Supplies, Lebanon, Oregon.